Hi everybody, my name is Stephanie and welcome to my YouTube channel, Sugar High Score. Today I am making a cake in honor of the koalas and other wildlife that have been affected by the fires in Australia. I have made a donation to help rescue and care for the injured wildlife, and if you have a couple extra dollars, I encourage you to also donate as well. If you are interested, I will put a few links down in the description box. Alright, I absolutely love this cake and I cannot wait to show you how I made it. It is so cute, so let's just get right on into it. I'm starting by drilling a hole into my board. Ignore those other two holes, I'm reusing this board for the third time, actually. I have 5 wooden feet under this board and the hole I'm drilling goes all the way through the one in the middle. I didn't mean to go all the way through though. I wanted to just go through most of the way, so I'm covering up that hole under the board with a piece of cake foil. Next, I'm adding some hot glue down inside the hole I just drilled, and then I'm sticking a dowel down inside of it. And then I'm hot gluing all around the dowel to kind of cage it into place. To cover my board, I'm using cake foil. You can get this at a craft store like Michael's or Hobby Lobby. So I'm pushing it down into place and then I fold it under the board and then I tape it down kind of like you would a present. To seal that area around the dowel, I'm brushing some melted candy melts around it. I just want to be sure the hot glue or board isn't touching my cake. Alright, on to the cake. For the body, I'm leveling and torting 2 6-inch round cakes. I'm wiping some of my American buttercream onto my board and I begin layering up my cake and buttercream frosting. Next up is the carving. I'm starting by running my knife down the cake at an angle so that it's smaller at the top and larger at the bottom. But I was feeling like the body was a little bit too short, so I added more buttercream and then the top portion of a half sphere cake. There, that looks a little bit better, and then I carved down at an angle too so that it matches up with the other cakes. And it needs just a little bit more refining around the body. Okay, moving on to the head. What I have here is a board that I drilled a hole into. I'm wiping more buttercream and then I add my first cake. I baked 2 7-inch round cakes for the head. Both were leveled and torted. They were actually too big, so I ended up trimming them all down just slightly. And then I'm getting all my cakes layered up and filled with buttercream frosting. Before I put the head into place, I'm trimming it down just a smidge so that it's not too big and heavy. Next, I'm adding plastic straws to support the head. I'm using 4 straws and then I cut them down flush with the top of the cake. I add a dollop more of buttercream and then I slide the head down into place. I'm showing you here that it's a little bit wobbly. This cake held up fine, but it's not as sturdy as using a threaded rod. If you'd like to see that method, I suggest watching my Detective Pikachu or Frankenstein cake videos. Although I have changed to using wooden blocks for feet instead of felt pads. And then I'm going to perfect the head shape using my serrated knife. It was slightly leaning to one side, which actually looked pretty good, so I just went with it. Now that I have the right shape, I'm covering it completely in chocolate ganache. I'm getting it all covered. I wanted to be sure to fill in that gap under the head too. Once that ganache sets up, it will help the head become more sturdy. To make the legs, I'm using cake pop filling. It's faster and easier to get the right shape using cake pop filling rather than carving cake. So once I've shaped those legs, I cover them in chocolate ganache too. I'm covering this cake completely in modeling chocolate. The reason I picked modeling chocolate is so that I can easily blend the seams. Okay, my surface is dusted with cornstarch and I'm rolling out the modeling chocolate. Before I can put it on the cake though, I'm spraying some water onto the cake so it will stick. Be sure to wipe off any water that got onto the board. And then I go ahead and move the chocolate over onto the head. I didn't do a great job here. I could have done this a lot neater, but I've got it on there, and the good thing about modeling chocolate is that I can blend it, so I wasn't too worried. I'm cutting off the excess and then I'm blending it the best that I can. And I also cover the body with modeling chocolate. I did manage to get this section nice and neat. I lightly heated the seam up with my creme brulee torch. I had it near the cake for just a tiny split second, which warmed it so I could easily blend it. It did darken the color in that area, but I didn't mind that. By the way, I'm using Choco Pan modeling chocolate. Okay, let's move on to the face details. I've already marked where I want the eyes, and I'm pressing a modeling tool around the eye and pushing it in with my thumbs. I'm brushing a very light amount of water in and around the eye socket, and I'm adhering a lighter gray circle over the eye. If air gets trapped under there, just use a pin to get that out. And that's the same process for the other eye too. Next, I'm adding in the whites of her eyes. They are fondant circles, and her irises are a light teal color, and they are also fondant. I'm painting the irises with teal food color gel mixed with a tiny drop of vodka. I'm first outlining it in a darker shade, and then I dip my brush in the vodka to thin out the color, and then I fill in the rest of the eye. Once I'm happy with the eye color, I'm adding a black fondant pupil and small white dots of fondant to look like light reflections. Those always bring up the cute factor. I love doing that. Next, I'm lining the top of the eye in a black log of fondant, and then I'm adding a few lashes right above each eye. Next, go on her eyebrows. I'm sticking everything on with just a little bit of water. Onto her nose. I've modeled her nose out of black fondant, and I'm getting that attached too. I actually attached that with shortening so that I could move it around and adjust it if I needed to. The mouth is similar to the eyebrows, as it's just a log of fondant that I've curved into a smile shape. After I put her mouth on, I used a sharp modeling tool to scrape small hairs all over her head and body. To make her look even cuter, I'm brushing her cheeks with a light dusting of pink food color powder. I used the Wilton brand pink powder, and I mixed it with just a touch of cornstarch. And to finish off her face details, I'm painting some pink freckles right above her nose. The paint is the same Wilton pink mixed with a tiny drop of vodka. Next up are her ears. I modeled her ears out of modeling chocolate again. They're just half circles basically, and I'm attaching them with edible glue. You'll need something stronger than water to hold these on because they're pretty heavy. And once I have the ears on her head, I'm using my small rolling pin to make a slight indentation in the middle of each ear. And then I'm filling the middle of the ear with a pink half circle of modeling chocolate. And next I'm dusting the middle of her ear with my pink powder again to add color and depth in there. To finish off her head, I'm adding a cute pink fondant bow. I have a short bow tutorial inside my Toy Story video, so go check that out if you need to. Alright, let's move on to the cupcake. This is a giant cupcake that I made using a Wilton pan. I'll put the link to it down below. I'm covering my cupcake in chocolate ganache, and then I begin rolling out a sheet of modeling chocolate for the outside of the cupcake. Using my pastry wheel, I'm cutting a strip of the chocolate, and then I mark lines in the strip with my ruler. You don't want to go all the way through the chocolate here, just lightly press into it. And next I'm sliding a skewer under each line that I marked, and I'm folding the chocolate to create pleats that mimic a cupcake liner. And then I move it over onto my cupcake and trim it to fit. I'm going to finish my cupcake with a swirl of buttercream frosting, sprinkles, and a cute Valentine's Day lollipop. Getting closer to finishing, I'm sticking my cupcake onto the board with more frosting, and I'm placing it right in front of my koala. Onto her feet and arms. I'm making these out of modeling chocolate again. I wanted her feet to kind of grab onto the cupcake because I thought that would be really cute. So I'm blending her foot in with the legs and kind of bending it around to grab onto the cupcake. And then I'm using a Dresden tool to create the toes. Her arms are done the same way. I'm starting with a log of modeling chocolate, and I attach it to her body and form the hands. And I stick her hand into the cupcake frosting. To finish off my board, I'm hot gluing a cute pink ribbon right around the outer edge of my board. I thought of one more thing. I wanted to add hair on her ears, so I'm using a small pair of scissors to snip little wisps of hair in her ears. I think that looks really cute. Okay, here she is, my cute and adorable koala cake. My koala cake turned out so cute. I am so pleased with the outcome of it. I hope that you love it too and learned a little bit about cake making. If you are on social media, please go check me out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Thank you all for being here, and I hope to see you again very soon. Bye!